People think the future arrives with a launch event. It doesn't. It arrives quietly. At first, it looks like a faster workflow, a better tool, an easier way to build. Then one day you wake up and realize the impossible became routine, and nobody noticed. I've spent years building, not because I wanted a company, not because I wanted attention. I build because I became obsessed with reducing the distance between imagination and reality. And lately, that distance has started collapsing. What used to require teams now happens in hours. What used to require specialists now starts with a conversation. But this isn't a story about automation. It's a story about amplification. People ask me if AI will replace developers. I think they're asking the wrong question. The real question is what happens when creation becomes cheaper than hesitation. Inside Laniakea, we think a lot about that, about systems that disappear into the background, about tools you install once and forget because they become part of how you think. Laniakea QNN isn't interesting because it generates outputs. It's interesting because it changes the speed at which ideas become real. And Laniakea QPU isn't interesting because it's powerful. It's interesting because power changes behavior. When building becomes instant, your standards change. Your expectations change. Your ambitions change. But speed alone isn't enough. Because the more capable these systems become, the more important it becomes to understand what's happening inside. We open black boxes. We look for patterns, concepts, circuits, reasons, trying to understand how something can appear intelligent before we fully understand why. Some people find that exciting. Some people find it uncomfortable. Maybe both reactions are correct. Because every major shift feels impossible, right, until it feels obvious. And maybe that's where we are now. Not replacing human creativity. Not replacing human judgment. Just removing friction between thought and creation. If that happens, if these systems become invisible, then maybe that was always the destination. Not building machines that think, but building tools that help humans become more themselves. The future isn't arriving, it's compiling. People think technology arrives with a loud announcement. It doesn't. It arrives quietly. One day you realize something that used to require teams, meetings, months now happens in an afternoon. Then one day it happens in minutes, and then suddenly you stop noticing it. That's when you know something changed. I've spent years building things, not because I wanted a company, not because I wanted status, but because I became obsessed with a question. What happens when creation becomes easier than imagination? People say AI will replace people. I don't think that's the interesting question. The interesting question is, what do humans become when building stops being the bottleneck? Because maybe intelligence was never the constraint. Maybe the constraint was time. Maybe the constraint was friction. Maybe the constraint was fear. I keep hearing people say everyone will become a creator. I don't know. Most people don't actually want to create, they want to consume. Creating is painful. Creating means uncertainty. Creating means showing unfinished thoughts. But for the people who do build, this changes everything. You stop thinking in products. You start thinking in possibilities. You stop asking, "Can this exist?" and start asking, "Why doesn't this already exist?" That shift is addictive, but it comes with responsibility. Because more power doesn't automatically make better decisions. We still don't fully understand these systems. We still open black boxes and discover entire worlds inside them. Patterns, structures, concepts interacting in ways nobody explicitly designed. Beautiful, and honestly, a little terrifying. So maybe the future isn't humans versus machines. Maybe the future is people learning how to work with things powerful enough to surprise them. Not replacing judgment. Not replacing taste. Not replacing values. Just amplifying what was already there. And if one day these tools fade into the background, if they become invisible, then maybe that was always the goal. Not to replace human creativity, but to remove everything standing in front of it. What will you build when the impossible becomes normal?